pleased to be here and be invited by Minalogic. I'm Helene Campourcy. I'm the CEO and founder of Humantex, which is an agency who take care about all organizational, digital, and innovation transformation. I'm also the founder of an association which is called Innov, and which gather innovation leader. And we had the pleasure to present today the study we realized last year in collaboration with the Cambridge Business School researcher. This survey shows innovation trend in corporate and organizational strategy, but it also captures the challenges and the opportunities to integrate corporate social responsibility and sustainability practices in strategic innovation. It also examines the rational and potential barrier you have to face with the integration of sustainable innovation, and also the role of external stakeholders to foster sustainable innovation. So, globally speaking, during this study, we see that there are really a real awakening on the issue of CSR and sustainable innovation, even if there are a very strong difference between organizations. The priority of organization is term of innovation. We observe that the part of CSR is growing, and the study show a very great impact and increasing impact in companies' innovation strategy, even though most of them are already business-oriented. So we can no longer deny the fact that companies give importance and credit to CSR in their innovation strategy, and we can see that one company out of two are already primarily consider very important CSR in their strategy. 38% consider that is important, and 40% that is not important. So as far as innovation strategy is concerned, CSR has therefore taking a leading role, joining growth and improved performance, and it is three key objectives in terms of innovation in company. But the commitment is different depending on the sector. Without any doubt, the most involved sector in CSR today is food industry, because it's due to the massive awareness of the consumer to be more responsible in the consumption. So what we can see is the health crisis has a significant impact on the food industry in terms of product quality, production location, and price is no longer the first criteria that the consumer are looking for, but CSR is becoming more and more involved in the consumption process. Some sectors has also understood the situation, and they're already trying to move towards sustainability. A sector like IEC sector, the architecture, engineering and construction industries demonstrate a strong CSR performance by striking a good balance between new market and operation performance. And for them, CSR is a very key objective and priority in innovation. Innovation in these sectors is strongly influenced, of course, by the environmental rules, but also by the objective of Paris Agreement of decarbonation. The priority for them is already illustrated by the fusion of innovation, sustainable innovation, and technological innovation, such as BIM, building information modeling, but also by advanced technology as automotive Internet of Things. And this both allow them to enable the construction with more eco-responsible building with less CO2 emission. On the other hand, public sector, teaching and research show very low interest on CSR. They're more business focused, And that was a great question during the study, because shouldn't innovation be part of teaching and research? And at the same time, shouldn't CSR be really, in fact, the main driver to eradicate the other sector and show the way where we have to go? So it's a debate that we can open. It's not the subject today, but it was very surprising to see that. If we go deeper in companies' department, we can see that C-level and leadership are primarily focused on market acquisition. And is another question that we have in this study: do top managers consider sustainability and corporate social responsibility as another source of external constraints? For departments like marketing or R&D, innovation, this department consider the innovation practices as quite balanced and well inclusive, even if most of the organizations consider innovation as a business enabler to optimize the existing and not as a game changer. So, but paradoxically, we can say that CSR department perceive innovation primarily as an internal performance factor rather than an external competitiveness challenge to open new market. And it could reveal that CSR has increasingly focused on the organization's core performance or profitability, and progressively exists greenwashing activity. And the second thing we have about the study is also that it could demonstrate that the integration of CSR can be an essential component of organizations' intangible asset. However, this might be a recent evolution in the internal refocusing on CSR department in innovation. And we get the example that CSR is used, for example, to scale up sustainable innovation or to sharpen the assessment of impact. And this will have been confirmed, of course, in the increasing trend of CSR in innovation priority. And all respondents in this study explain that they will reinforce the CSR objective and priority in the next 3 years. So, if you take a look in which area innovation practices had the greatest impact, the pandemic explained the business oriented for most of the company, but we can see that in the study the environmental and also the sustainability issues are also considered by the company. The environment holds a solid position in the impact of innovation strategy, and if we want to have an holistic overview and gather social and societal issues to the environmental issues, we can see that is closer to the business part and is becoming more important. But what we see in the different response of the respondents is that we have an acceleration to drive towards sustainability. The result also highlight differences across sectors. The tech sectors is really business-oriented and is probably will be interpreted by the rise of new usage of technology. And these sectors know that technology is already the backbone of the new digital technology. And its challenges now is to design new data centers with less energy consumption and to be also more compliant with the regulation. And the tech sector has, for the moment, the ambition to create and propose new sustainable offer, but they need to be compliant, but also to answer the customer requirement, which means that in the next few years, all this part is coming very mandatory for this sector. At the same time, they start to work on the different level of commitment in CSR, and for example, they plan to use new source of energy. They start to integrate energy program to be more efficient, but also to use recyclable materials to contribute to the reduction of the CO2 emission. And there are a lot of challenges in this sector and in this tech world to face with the sustainable world. And this is a topic already mentioned by David, but which will be presented by Philippe Raz from HPE on the future of computing in sustainable world. Other sectors like defense, aeronautics, space drive innovation towards business and management field and lower towards and less towards sustainability. But we can see in some companies some changes. They start to commit their team to think innovation differently and try to find a better way to use and integrate sustainability and CSR in their strategy. And that one of the points that Sita Sonti will discuss at the end of the day concerning the challenge of the climate, innovation of climate change and the paradox that we can see with the space industry. One sector which is really advanced in this subject is energy sector. Compare what we have seen on this, they show a willingness to change things, implementing sustainability practices, but the implementation is not much due to the huge willingness of the sector than by external factors like a strong digital transformation, like David said previously, but also on positive impact on clean investment in this sector. And what is interesting in this sector that I forgot to mention to you that all the study was anonymous because we didn't want to have some greenwashing and we wanted to have the reality about what's happened in the floor. And it was interesting to have the vision from different functions as marketing director, CIO, but also R&D director or innovation director, but also some people working in CSR department. So that's why interesting to share that with you today. So we can't speak about sustainable innovation if we're not speaking about the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development adopted by the United Nations member states in 2015, which is a shared vision of the peace, of prosperity, of humanity, and in the planet for today and tomorrow. What is interesting in this is, in this framework, we ask respondents, and we wanted to understand the level of maturity and knowledge they have about United Nations SDG. Most of them, and 42%, say that they know them very well and they're already integrated in their strategy. But 40% said they do not. But what was really surprising for us is that some respondents say that never heard about UN sustainable goals. And mostly of them are unaware of their existing in the innovation strategy, which is quite paradoxical. So the main reason respondents say to us during the study is the company is not too large enough to be involved, or is too complex. Despite this response, the 19 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals remains a common roadmap for 2030, agenda on sustainable development strategy, and provide the blueprint of integrating sustainability and CSR in the organization strategy. Tech sector, food industry, and public sector show low score for the integration of SDG in their strategy. Otherwise, energy and IEC sectors explain that SDG define the best way to integrate sustainable commitment. And they confirm it by joining some organization like the UN Global Compact, but also being partner of the R20 Regents of Climate, which is an NGO founded by Michelle Sabon, a French girl, and also Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was governor for California. And the objective of the HGO is to tackle the climate change. So this analysis confirmed that the United Nations framework has become the key driver for innovation. And there, unfortunately, a lack of knowledge to integrate a systemic view of sustainability in some organization, and unfortunately, the communication strategy of some organization are tainted by greenwashing. So in this part, to go deeper on what respondents said, we asked them what was the main barrier they have to face in the implementation or to merge sustainable innovation approaches and CSR principle in their activities, and most of them say that it was business constraint linked to lack of resources, lack of time, and lack of profitability. It means for us that we need to face the integration of this topic in our business model, because we need to achieve a paradigm shift and the right approach to coordinate R&D, which is driven by business innovation, and with the corporate level, which is driven by CSR principle. And in this domain, the result highlights the issue of organization complexity with a lack of ownership and leadership to implement sustainable innovation. At the same time, it's really difficult for organization to evaluate the impact of each component of CSR strategy for the short and long-term economic value. And for people who were yesterday evening on the conference, is whatever said is really difficult to understand and how to measure the different components of CSR. But it remains also a lack of awareness from organization to better understand how we can evaluate the cost impact. And some organizations consider also the lack of profitability of low-emission products and services. But integrating the carbon taxes in your current business model will be a huge issue. As you know, actually, the ton carbon of CO2 is 108 euros, defined by the MEDEF actually, but the real price of the ton per CO2 is around 250 and is going to increase. If you integrate the cost of the taxes in your business model, most of the company will have a negative EBIT, which means that tomorrow the survival of this company, we cannot discuss about it. So which means that now companies need to be more involved to implement CSR and sustainable innovation, but also to review the value chain of their business model. So you have understand that sustainable innovation is not at the moment of the study, of course, considered as a priority for companies. Even then, they have some awareness of the potential business driver, and there's different, anyway, smart way to move towards innovation and sustainable innovation. And like David explained just before in the conference, but all companies need to understand now that we have to face new paradigm where the integration of CSR is more than ever mandatory. First of all, because the awareness of consumer is here and their willingness to consume differently is very important at that time. So just to conclude on this part, COVID-19 was a tidal wave. David said it, and but it has changed and accelerate the rule of the game, and more than ever, we can say. And first of all, it makes sustainability the cornerstone of the innovation process. Some leaders are starting to recognize that sustainability could means also innovation, and we can actually share a lot of sustainable innovation across multiple industry. The point is, the message is for companies which haven't already integrated or thinking about integrated CSR principle or sustainable strategy in their innovation, because the clock is ticking. And all organizations need now to speed up the integration of innovation, sustainability, and CSR principle into their business model and business strategy to positively impact our society, our environment, our planet, and to tackle the climate change. So thank you for your attention. There was some few highlights of the survey. If you're interested about the white paper of the survey, do not hesitate to come by to me. I will share it with you. The objective for us is to just put the small stone on this project to make people aware about what sustainable innovation should be for the next years. And at the same time, for 2022, the objective of the association is to move towards the awareness and maybe start to inspire other companies through companies' testimony. We asked some CEO and also R&D director, marketing director, or CSR director to make some testimonies to explain what for them is sustainable or responsible innovation, and to give some concrete example, because there's so many things we can do in sustainable innovation, but small things we can change, that can change the world and what we're doing for being more responsible. So if some company like you would like to give their testimony on these three questions with the other one, welcome. It would be great to integrate you in the French book and English book, because the objective for us is to deliver this white paper for beginning of October across the world, and it will be free of charge, of course. Thank you for your attention.